to Waffle Country Credits. I am here with
And the
Clever.
smoke
I
filled
would say an up and coming
hands
artist,
of
but I know you've had a big
our
career in the music industry
desire.
already. So,
Sure.
a little bit new to country. So, what's up? How are you?
Good, good. I'm great. Just, trying to grow in this scene. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm so excited. I'm a big fan, as you know, of your work.
Thank you
So
so
I know
much.
you're going to be huge. So I'm super excited. Do you kind of want to rewind? Well, not rewind, but go back and tell everyone like your upbringing, where you're from, how you got into
Sure.
music in the first place, and all of that stuff.
So my name is Clever. I'm from Alabama, small town, Alabama, Gadsden, northeast, right in the heart of Alabama. And I grew up, you know, just typical playing sports, stuff like that. At a young age, I started writing poetry, which eventually transitioned into writing songs. And I did some hip hop stuff for a while, did some freestyle battling on the radio, did some
Nice.
106 Park, like Freestyle Friday stuff on BET. I came up under Juice World, wrote some songs for some huge artists in the industry as a songwriter. I've kind of done it all at this point. But coming from Alabama, I country music, the genre, it really fits my narrative. You know what I mean? Some of the songs, if any genre kind of fit what it is that I do, or the stories that I could tell as a child, you know what I'm saying? Country definitely paints that picture for me. So when I was doing hip hop, it didn't necessarily feel like hip hop music. I don't think you can really put a genre on what it is that I do, but playing with some of these Nashville writers and doing this country production and kind of coming back to my roots really feels nice. And that's just a little bit about me. I'm now making some country music. It's not just riding this wave. It's something that's very natural to me. It feels like I'm coming home.
Yeah. So, okay. So growing up, you were obviously into rap and other things, but like, who were some of your influences outside of the hip hop scene? Like, were you also influenced by other genres, like obviously country, but then other ones?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I was raised on Leonard Skinner, Allman Brothers. My dad was a huge like Eagles fan. So I was listening to a lot of that growing up. My mother listened to like Earth, Wind and Fire and the Gap Band and people like that. So I fell right in the middle somewhere. So it was like a touch of hip hop, but it was very melodic and real big voice. It was very rock inspired. But I also grew up listening to Travis Tritt. I grew up listening to Garth Brooks and Vince Gill and some of those huge, Randy Travis. And I've always been inspired by some of their songwriting as far as the storytelling and some of the just really deep
Mhm.
songs emotionally in country music, which I think, is why I have, slowly started to gravitate towards it over the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was gonna say like I feel like if anything, I mean a lot of things set you apart from others, but if anything like truly does, I would say it's the songwriting and not only just the writing, but then the way that you like sing about the way you sing your lyrics, like you could tell that they're all meaningful to you.
Yeah, thank you.
So poetry is interesting because I mean starting with that, that's like the heart of like love for words. I feel like that's so
Yeah,
beautiful.
absolutely, absolutely.
Or
Just the way to craft it.
songwriting makes a lot of sense. That's so
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, like, at the heart of country music as well is just songwriting. So to gravitate towards this genre makes a lot of sense for you. I feel like you've kind of always been there, just haven't really built.
Yeah, a lot of my songwriting is definitely inspired by some of the country style of songwriting. Hip hop can be a little straightforward, which I like at times, but in country, sometimes they really paint a picture, you know what I mean? And I love some of the storytelling st type stuff, so I really want to kind of lean in on that a little bit.
Yeah, and then so okay, so when you're in the hip hop scene, were you living in LA or were you out in Alabama and just travel? Did you ever?
In Alabama, I've been here, born and raised. I mean, I always travel a lot, so my home is here. But I do try to get out as much as I can. But I always got to come back. I've got a son here, so I've got full custody of my son, but he does have visitation with his mother here from time to time, just a couple of days a week. So I travel and I always bounce back. But I've stayed here mainly for that reason. And now, I mean, my city kind of loves me here. I'm like the mayor of my city, so
Is
gas to
into the
I
college
love my
football right now?
city. Do I now?
Are you really into the college football right now?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if you're born in Alabama, you're kind of from birth if you're an Alabama or an Auburn fan. So and I played sports year round, from the time I was 4 to and then turned down some baseball scholarships to go on 106 in Park. So I sports is a big thing to me. And in Alabama, we don't have any professional teams.
Oh,
So we're real big on our college
mhm.
sports, which is why Alabama and is usually top notch. I almost said Auburn, but I can't speak for Auburn because sometimes they're trash. Roll Tide.
That's awesome. I was gonna say roll tide. That's so funny.
I
Okay,
couldn't
so
alienate myself from the Auburn fans. Look, Auburn fans, I love you too. I've got family members that's Auburn fans, so I'm sorry. I mean, but
it's so fun.
it's the season. At this, at this time of the year, we give each other room to bicker, you know.
Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay, so and you know what's really interesting is like in the LA hip hop scene, you worked with like Charlie Handsome and Post
Mm,
Malone and people like that who are all now involved heavily in the Nashville scene and country music.
right.
So is that like when you guys used to work together, was that ever topic of conversation, especially with like Charlie, because I know he's like changing the game a lot in country. I mean, obviously Post Malone
Yeah.
as well, but everyone knows that.
Charlie's incredible.
Look, look behind the scenes at like what Charlie's done, like that's incredible. Um, like was that ever a topic of your guys' conversation? Like I want to be involved with country music one day.
We would always listen to country music in the studio. He was a big fan of Billy Strings and a lot of different. I'm not going to name drop all the country artists that we would listen to, but Billy Strings was one of them. Or, I'll give you Billy, but he we listened to Randy Travis from time to time and stuff like that. So we were always inspired by country music. Post, I think they've been trying to drag him to country for a while, and it also seems natural to him, to a degree. And it's definitely something that I think is inspired both that we've been inspired to do for a long time. And it's a lot of fun to try something new, and also when it's something that you're inspired to do, that also it plays a huge factor.
Yeah, and like I feel like it must be hard for you at times for to hear that some people think you're new to country because you're kind of
Right,
not. You grew up
right.
on it, you're from the South.
Well, and I've written some pretty big country songs that I can't mention uh as a ghostwriter, but it's not my first rodeo actually.
You should make merch. This is not my first.
Yeah.
No, but it's not. Like I could tell it's not. It's obvious. But
Yeah,
yeah, that must be interesting for you to kind of like have your name be talked about as like a new name because you
right.
are so many people like around town that might not have known about you otherwise,
Right.
or they've heard about you, but they're like, I don't really know who he is, and now they're looking at you in a new light. And like, does that ever like what do you feel like some of the pros and cons of that are? Like, do you
Well, I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's all pros right now. I mean, if there were any cons, it was that, maybe you're underestimated. But I think once I get in the room with people, the music kind of speaks for itself. And at the same time, I'm going in the room not knowing a lot of the names of some of Nashville's biggest writers, and I'll almost be dumb to it and try to dial it down like, oh yeah, I think I know the name, but I'm unfamiliar with some names that should be familiar amongst all genres, just based off of what they've been able to accomplish. So it's been great. No pressure walking in thinking these people are very experienced in a genre that I'm not. You know what I mean? I just laying some stuff down, and a lot of my stuff is my own writing and stuff anyway. So it's just been producers that are phenomenal. The Nashville producers are on a different level. So it's been a lot of fun.
Cool to hear you say that.
Yeah,
It's probably just such a different experience too with like the musicians and being a part
mm,
of like all of that talent.
for sure.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I mean, all right, so you've had the same manager ever
Mhm.
all throughout, which is really nice for
Oh
you.
wow, yes.
And now you're with also with the core
That's
entertainment.
right.
So how did that come to be? Like how did your initial, oh, like I wanna work with you on a country album come to be? Was that your idea or was it something that you kind of collectively like all worked on? And then how did it come
Well,
to be with the core especially? Because they're
well,
very uh, very great.
yeah, right, sure. Yeah, the core is doing their thing. They're killing it right now. So Leslie, my longtime manager, we've been working together since maybe 2012-ish. So going on, yeah, about 12 years. And um, we've worked closely with David Foster over the years. David Foster, who is Simon Tickman's father-in-law
That's
now.
crazy.
You know, right? So it's just a small world. I think Leslie started telling me, look, if you're going to try this country thing, I know some people in Nashville. I need to, and she started throwing some names out there. And when I saw Simon Tickman, I didn't know who Simon Tickman was in the beginning, but I knew he was close. Me and David had worked together many times over the years. So I was Googling Simon. And when I realized he was tied to David, I was like, "Oh no, this is it. This is it." You know what I mean? Like we're already in the family kind of thing. Leslie is so close with all of the Fosters and stuff. So I um I knew it was a sure thing. I was like, "We got to go after him." And he had already heard of my stuff, through the grapevine. When she played him, Billy the Kid was the first song that we recorded at Fame Studios. We sent it to Simon, and he was in. He was from the moment that he heard it, he picked up the phone and was just like, "What's up?" You know what I mean? So it was just that easy. He was like a day one. I mean, almost like within the hour of hearing Billy the Kid, he called me and we were discussing how we were going to get together with the core.
That's insane. I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like you have no like you have the best team around you, which is such a
For
blessing.
sure, for sure. I mean, we just keep adding pieces to it also. So it's like putting together the Avengers at some point, it's a little overkill, but we're coming. So for
Yeah.
sure.
No, that's so it's so exciting. Like, and
Yeah.
I really appreciate what you've did, like what you've done in the hip hop scene. And now, like, it's really cool to kind of see you keep like reinventing yourself. Like, that's such a quality of like a artist that's going to be around for a while. So that's really
Sure. I'm inspired by a lot of different genres, always have been. So,
cool.
I think it's very inspiring to just keep, trying new things. And this is actually something that I feel like I've been doing for a while, something that's very natural to me. And I'm just so inspired to do it. And I think some of the songs that's coming out of it is really great, some of my best work. So, I'm really pumped.
Are there songs on that you're going to be releasing that you wrote like years ago, or are they all kind of fresh?
They're all pretty fresh. So we have songs that that we finished maybe last year, June, July at the latest. But we've got some, that we felt very strongly about since then that we've kind of put fillers out there that may not be getting the feedback some of our newer stuff is. So and we kind of know better what the direction is now. I think I'm coming more into who I am as an artist, and I think so. I'm really knocking them out the park here lately, and I think it'd be really nice to get some of the. You always want your latest, greatest. You always like your last song. Your last song's always your best one, I think.
Favorite song until the next comes out.
Yeah, the next one goes, yeah,
Or yeah, is written, whatever.
right,
Okay, yeah, so let's talk about Cowboy Killers. Like that's
yeah,
such a great song. When you sent me the demo or something, I don't even know, like almost a year
right.
ago now, probably, which is so
Yes, yes.
cool. That's such a good song. So
Thank.
Yeah, so what like was there how long did it take you to write that one? Was it like something that just kind of came to you quickly or?
Um, can't say that it came to me quickly. It came to me effortlessly when we were in the studio, as it should, I think, when you're writing a song that's very true to yourself. But it's a song that I think took years to write, just because when I wrote that song, my car was a wreck and I come stumbling out of it, It looks like I've just been living in the thing and there's smoke rolling out of it and I'm living off of smoke and you know what I mean, SpaghettiOs and basically just, looking the part, walking in and it kind of fitting. I think a lot of the songs that I write is a timeline of where I'm at, you know what I mean? So in that moment, it was those Cowboy Killers that was keeping me alive. I felt, you know what I mean? I was just running on them. So, where it came off effortless, I think, and natural, it definitely took years in the making.
Yeah, that's interesting. Do you, I mean, I know we've chatted about this a little bit, but for like people that are just watching, like, what can people expect? Like, is it going to be a couple of singles followed by an album? Is it going to just be like,
I think you just read the room. You put out some solo singles. Once you release 4 or 5 singles, everybody's like, "Where's the album?" And I think the goal is to write as many songs as you can and just really dig in. When I get on fire, I go in and I mean 10, 20, 30 songs in a month's time, just going in. And I think if you can really put together a nice body of work, you can pick and choose which one are your favorites, or you can put out some teasers and let the people decide. But I kind of just read the room and play it by ear. If people want a full album, which most people will say, yeah, I want 30 songs, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to one. But I think before you get people wanting 30, you have to get them wanting one.
right?
So or two or three. So I think the goal as an artist is to really get people wanting, to see your episodes before they dial into a full season.
Do you feel like, do you have, or you probably already know, like, do you feel like a lot of your fans from your previous work outside of country music are supporting you in this genre, or is it mostly new fans or a mix?
Yeah, I think, we had some downtime that I think hurt my fan base in a lot of ways, and those that are still here are kind of ride or die and really just believe in the process and what it is that I do lyrically and some of the journey we've already been on together can't be denied, by a little change in the production. You know what I'm saying? Because the bass went from an 808 to a real drum, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So I think it's still the same thing that I'm doing on the top line. A lot of the production has changed, and I think that's what makes my country stand out a little bit from other country songs. It's not the same old cadence, it's not the same melody, but the concepts are in the same ballpark, and it's coming from somebody that naturally, like I don't try to be country. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I naturally am country. I naturally just have chickens and roosters out in the front yard because that's how I was raised. You know what I mean? We don't pay for eggs around here. It's not something you know what I mean, trying to be country. I was a hip hop artist with chickens and roosters out in the front. So,
Oh,
I think a lot of the, country talk and are you country enough type thing goes out the window in my
okay.
opinion when I feel like I'm more country than a lot of the people asking. So.
Yeah, for sure. That's so true. That's so interesting. Do you like, I guess, who is your biggest inspiration right now in the country scene? Is it
Ooh,
more
in
of
the
a time?
country.
It could be someone that's not even like
It,
relevant anymore. I'm just curious, like who you're most
sure.
inspired by.
Mm, Zach Bryan is a huge inspiration to me right now, just because lyrically, I think he's really saying some shit sometimes. You know what I mean? And coming from that, Tyler Childers is kind of in that same lane. Um, I really enjoy their music as far as country goes. I don't necessarily lean towards the folk side of country when I create.
Mhm.
But I do feel like as much as they do, you know what I mean? I feel like they're a little more folk than I am. But but I do love. I think they're inspiring as far as lyrics go, and then all the heavyweights. Right now, Bailey Zimmerman's on fire, and he's with the core. Nate Smith's on fire. The core is really doing their thing. So I think I'm inspired by the fire that's lit, in my own camp. Um, and it's not a competitive thing. It's more just, wanting to be the Little Wayne to the Juvenile. You know what I'm saying? I want to do my part to to
Also,
to make the trio or the group what it is.
yeah, I think that's they are the perfect fit for you. I feel like there's no
Mhm.
like question of if you're understood. I feel like I could just see that they understand you and your vision.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a fit for sure.
Yeah. Do you feel like I love your depth in your music and it never feels like you're trying to be cool or trying to like, oh, I want to just like write something that people think I'm like artistic. Like it's truly it feels so like art to me.
Yeah,
As much
thank you.
as art feels like if it's hanging on a wall in a frame.
Mhm. Right.
Like it just feels so much like art, which I feel like also really sets you apart from some other country songs. Not to say that that's not art, but yours is just it has a depth to it that like is undeniable.
Thank
I'm
you.
really excited about all your other upcoming work. Like, how do you like what I guess what's your biggest inspiration when you're going to sit down and like to write a song? Is there one thing that's always been a constant that like inspires you, or an environment that always makes you feel like creatively inspired?
Sure. When I went to record at Fame Studios, it was because there's something in the water up there. And, I love that's kind of why I've stayed in Alabama. There's just no place like home. There's something in the wind, there's something in the smell. And I want my country music to kind of feel like where I'm from. And because it is country, but it's got its own vibe to it. And right now I'm just really inspired to write some songs that really mean something to me because I feel like if I really tap into the way that I'm feeling and I say that in a way that only that I can say it and it's a concept that's very meaningful that I can resonate with people that are just like me. And that's really all that I should be aiming at. You know what I mean? This is not about just collecting a bunch of streams. And of course, you want everybody to hear your songs, but I really want to find those that are cut from the same cloth as me so that I might be able to help them out of situations that I've been in or lead them on a journey alongside me in the right direction.
Yeah.
So when I go into writing songs, I think that's kind of the goal is to really tap into what I'm feeling and what I've been through, and maybe the specific type of person that may resonate with me, so that I might find them.
How would you like, I don't know if this is a weird question to ask, but how would you describe yourself in like 3 words if you had
Man.
to?
Um, Religious, um, determined, um, and grateful.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on a mission and I know I'm blessed to be where I'm at um and excited to keep on going.
Yeah. Yeah, you
So
feel that with you. That's so exciting. I'm so excited for you.
yeah,
Do
thank you.
do you have a dream collab?
Dream collab. Oh wow.
I guess
Man.
it could be I guess it could be either co-writing kind of collab or like an artist collab. I'm just curious.
Sure. Um, I'd really love to work with Ashley Gorley on a record.
Hmm.
Um, I'd love to. I've worked with so many greats. As far as artists goes, I think I'd love to do one with Robert Plant. I think that would be
Oh my gosh, that would be
yeah,
incredible. I
yeah, I
just
would
saw him
love
live.
it. Yeah. Let's make it happen. Somebody tag Robert Plant in this.
Yeah, that would, oh my gosh, dude, that would be so crazy.
Oh my God. Insane.
I would have never thought of that, but as soon as it says, I was like, oh shoot, that'd be
Yeah,
wild.
dude, that would be incredible. It
Um,
would be, I would. I don't know if I could write. I'd be so stuck. That'd be my first time I ever had writer's block. I think I'd just be staring at Robert Plant trying to figure out if this is real or not.
Literally. Do you you think you'll be touring in next year in 2025?
Oh, absolutely. My goal is to get on stage. I think I just want to get a bunch of songs out there and really make some noise before we're, out there singing to a bunch of crickets. But I think once we get some songs shaking and really make some noise, yeah, but it's gonna be time to jump on. And I mean, I'm in a good group, so I think I might can even jump on a tour, do some opening stuff once we start making some noises. Uh, but um, but yeah, you gotta be able to sell those tickets first. But soon as I'm coming.
I'll, I'll buy the
Okay.
first
Yeah, you buy the first ticket, I'll be there.
and the chickens outside. Wow.
Yeah.
This is kind of a random question, but like, what do you feel like is the biggest, well, you don't know how to describe it per se, but like what's the biggest mistake that you've made navigating the music industry as a whole? And like, as far as, because you've been doing it for so long, like
Mm.
advice for other people, things to look out for, like what do you have
I
to say?
think advice for an artist kind of on the come up would be to learn how to monetize and to find the platforms that are working for you and double down and like don't let up. You can spread yourself thin across different platforms. I think you should really double down on one of them, let it trickle down to the other ones, but really focus on mastering one of them. You can have success on Instagram, you can have success on Facebook, you can have success on YouTube, and some people do some better than the other ones.
Mhm.
So I would say focus on one and really nail one down, and then maybe explore some other avenues. Learn to monetize, and don't trust everybody. Don't record with just anybody because I've had a lot of songs leak and stuff like that,
Oh boy.
um, and been a part of a lot of songs alongside Juice World that posthumously, leaked out into the world. And it's an ugly game once you get in. It may be more present in the hip hop space than the country world, but I'm sure there's leaks in country as well. So just be cautious of that.
Mhm. Do you feel like there's like like on social media, do you feel like there's like what's the platform that you prefer the most right now? And
Right
like
now, I think it's TikTok, just because everybody says, TikTok, TikTok, TikTok. And of course, YouTube's going to do its thing. You can't really shy away from any of them. You really need to do all of them. It's just hard to focus across so many platforms. It's a lot of time. You need a full team to really knock out something like that. But um, I think you just got to find which one's working for you. And TikTok right now, it's the whole industry says TikTok. The artists are rolling their eyes like, what I'm saying, frustrated, tired of hearing this shit. But that's where it's at. So, and you got to put it out there. You know what I mean? You got to get it out to people. You need to be hitting. It's about being in the right place all the time. It's not about being in the right place at the right time. It's about being in the right place all the time. So you have to be on every platform, going as hard as you can, and your results are gonna be based off of the performance, off of what you've done. So don't expect to make any noise on any platform if you're not focusing the proper amount of attention to one.
what's your like everyday life like right now? Like is it right in a certain time amount of week or is it
I'll
kind of
wake
like
up
national
early.
every week or
No, I mean, so I wake up in Alabama most of the time. I live up on Nakalula Mountain, very quiet, very small town. But I'm having coffee in the morning with my wife and children running around, and I'm able to work from home, but I'm writing songs from the moment that I open my eyes. I wake up about 5 o'clock in the morning, without wanting to. Just
okay.
on that. That's just I'm just on that rhythm. So it don't matter what time I go to sleep. I don't never get enough. But I wake up and I'm writing. I'm up before anybody else, but I love the color of 4 o'clock in the morning. I love the color of 5 a.m. So I'm not. too mad at it. I have my coffee at some point. I start writing songs, and yeah, and then people start blowing my phone up. And you know, I'm very family oriented, so I bounce around. I'm doing music. It's always a balancing, juggling act to be a family man and to also do what I have to do to keep this thing rolling. So, but just balancing both, trying to stay creative and stay inspired to just to write some cool shit. That's basically my everyday, and try to sprinkle in vacations at least once a month.
Nice. No, it's you think you've got a good rhythm down and you're
Yeah,
very grounded, so that's exciting.
trying to.
Where did you like where did you get the name Clever initially?
From my battle rap days, I was going by my last name, which is Huey, at one point when I was 14, I think. And this dude kept using these W lines. He kept saying, I'm going to take the W and like wins and losses, right? And it was W this and W that. And finally, when it was my turn, um, I was using L lines for every other line. And it was, I'm going to hand you the L, I'm going to give you this L, right? And at some point I said, you can call me clever because I won't see an L ever, right?
Oh my gosh.
After the show, this dude comes up to me, the random guy, right? And he's like, what'd you say your name was? Clever? And I was like, no, no, my last name, I go by my last name, which is Huey. And he says, oh, I thought you said, you could call me clever or something like that. And I was a big fan of Common, the rapper of Common. And it reminded me of Common, the way it was a common word, and it was very short and simple, just clever. And I was 14, so it was still early. You know what I mean? I was like, it's not too late to change my name. Nobody knows me, as yet. So at 14, I decided to go by Clever just from that battle rap and that dude asking me if that was my name. And I was like, no, but I like that. And yeah, I started going by Clever from that point forward.
That's so wild. That's a good
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy I asked that. I almost didn't ask that. Wow. So, wow, that's crazy. So I guess I have really one more question, then we'll wrap it up. But like, what do you feel like the biggest misunderstanding about you is? Or like, and then to follow that up, like, what do you feel like you just want everyone to know about you?
Well, a misunderstanding about me. I mean, you look at me, you see tattoos on my face, you see maybe my criminal history and stuff like that. You think, I may be just a terrorist at my in my town if you look at my rap sheet. But I'm actually a good person. Um, I'm not necessarily proud of where I came from. I used to walk these streets full of pride, but I humbled myself in a jail cell, and I've come a long way. And I might look like a SoundCloud rapper from the past, but I'm true to my roots, and I'm ready to bring it back home.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, forgiveness is a cool thing. So that's
Heck yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, I always wrap up my interviews like the same way. So I'm gonna wrap them up this way. And I know you're a little bit new to hanging out in Nashville as much, so
Mm,
it's confusing. You don't have to answer it, but favorite place to hang out in Nashville,
mm.
favorite up and coming artist, and then favorite artist of all time.
I'd say it's maybe Soho. And Soho
Okay.
is very cool.
Everyone hangs out there now. But I haven't
Um,
had someone say
oh
that, so
no, I've been hanging out at Warner Chapel Publishing Company, like recording. That's about it. In Nashville, I always love Paula Dean's.
oh,
Um, I love the Opry Mall and stuff like that. So,
okay.
Rainforest Cafe, big Rainforest Cafe guy.
I
So,
there's I never even knew there was one.
oh yeah, yeah, right. Where is it? Next to the cinemas, the Opry, Regal Opry Cinema there.
Oh, I used to go to that when I was younger. That's crazy. Didn't know.
Yeah, yeah, Rainforest is sick. But yeah, I mean, it was a three-part question.
Oh yeah, so that was the first
Um,
question. Then it was favorite up and coming artist. But I guess it could be any
ooh,
genre. So.
Favorite up and coming artist would have to be Brandon Wisham.
Oh yes.
Um, Brand You Wish. Brandon Wisham is so very talented. And at first, when I was introduced to him, he almost come off as a songwriter. And he would send me these songs. I always write all my top lines. So I'm listening to him a little different than most people, not like, oh my God, I want this song. But when you hear Brandon Wisham sing, there's just no reason for him to ever touch a reference track, and it be going to somebody else. You're never going to sing a song quite like Be Wish sang it. So if he's already done his thing to it and that's what you're referencing, then you might as well just let him have it.
Yeah. I am so happy that things worked out the way they did for him and he was discovered because he is one of those voices that he was born to do this. Like he was born to
Yeah,
share
he's a killer.
this.
And his lyrical ability is insane.
Oh my
So he's gonna
God.
go far. He's still cooking. He's still like in the oven. He's finally getting some love that he deserved, that he's been deserving of. But he's still in the oven, and I think it's just a matter of time before he really makes his stamp, like a huge stamp on country music.
For sure. I'm with you on that. All right. So
Yeah.
favorite artist of all time.
Favorite artist of all time. It's, of any genre, correct?
Yeah.
Oh man, I love Elvis Presley. Johnny Cash, the iconic
Yeah.
Dolly Partons. But as far as inspiration goes, I mean, Jay-Z's a huge inspiration of mine lyrically. Robert Plant is a huge inspiration of mine vocally. I would put them up there as my favorite artist of all time. I don't know that I could put just one
Art.
artist on it. If I did have to put one, it's gonna be Juice World. Juice World is probably my favorite just from watching him work and him setting a standard for me that I may never reach.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome. Wow. Well, it's really great chatting with you. I'm so excited
Yes, you as well.
for everything. And I know that everyone's gonna love your work as soon as they hear it, if they haven't already.
Yes,
So good luck with
right.
everything.
I'm excited. Yeah, I hope they do. I
Yeah,
hope they
next
do.
year this time we're gonna do a second interview and you're gonna be like, I just toured all over the country, all the world.
Yes, that's what, yeah, that's the goal.
Now back to my chickens. That's
I'll
awesome.
be ready. I'm selling tickets now. That's what I'm gonna say. I can sell tickets now. No
Yes.
crickets. No more crickets, all tickets.
Yes. That's so awesome. Well,
That's
good
the name
luck.
of the tour.
Yes. Good
No
luck
more
with
crickets,
everything.
just
Thanks
please.
so much for jumping on.
Well, yeah, thank you. Till next time.